What's good, YouTube? I'm about to do a build breakdown on my static and cambered Lexus LS400. I'm going to tell you how to make one of these at least to about -10. Mine is sitting at a good like -15 all around, but I'm going to give you the sauce on how to get that much. As you can see, like, mine's sitting at a good -15 from this angle, which is a lot of camber for a car. I mean, hey, y'all can say it's mad impractical. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I've driven this car over 2,000 miles at a time. I've driven this car straight to Gap like this. I've driven it to Riverside, but I mean, I had less camber, but I feel like if I'm sitting at -15, I've been sitting on the same set of tires for about 1,500 miles now, and I have not had to flip them once yet. I mean, yeah, if you look back in like Daytona videos, I did be beat on one, but hey, I haven't had to flip a side yet. So, and I've been daily driving this car for the last week in my life. So yeah, I'm gonna give you all the sauce on how to do this. Before we get into today's topic, I'm gonna wash the car because I have not washed this car in over a month. I haven't washed this car since I was in Daytona for Slamming Enough Daytona. This thing definitely mobs hard. Like, I've been sitting on the same set of tires since I went to Daytona, and I've been daily driving the car the entire month of December like this because my truck went down. So I have been having to drive this every single day. And I have driven it probably about like a good, since Daytona, I've probably driven the car like a good 1,500 miles, and I have not had to flip yet, nor is any of my tires balding, which is very surprising because this is my first time having like an actual like good alignment on the car. And back then, on my very first setup with this car, I used to be sitting at about -14 all around, and I burned through a set of tires in like maybe like less than 200 miles. But then that's back when I didn't have a lot of knowledge on how to build a properly stance car. But this is not my first stance car ever. But this is like my first stance car with over -10 degrees of camber. So yeah, we're gonna wash the car, and then I'm gonna go over a full-on breakdown of my static LS400.
I can't believe we just blew through all that gas still. High as can be, trying to remember how my past feel. Tired ass can go out every day, feel like the last one. I swear that I be.
Alright, car's all clean. Now I'm about to actually get to the breakdown. Today we're gonna go over everything I've done to my static LS400 and showcasing everything that I've done on it that people commonly ask questions about, or people commonly try to figure out with these cars. When I first started building on this car, it was hard to find much information about it. The only way you could really figure out how to build one of these cars is you kind of had to look through a lot of forums. You kind of had to, if you could find them on YouTube. When I first got this car, I got this car back in 2022. And during that time period, nobody really had these cars. TikTok was a thing, obviously, but TikTok was kind of blowing up with cars, but not with the LS400, or not even just the LS400, with the UCF bodies in general, from the UCF 10 to the UCF 30. Mine is a UCF 20, but mine is the facelifted. There are two versions of this car. Mine is the more modernized one, because honestly, in this one, I preferred the engine more because it was faster. But then, as I learned over time, I should have got the 95 to 97 because I still prefer that one too. But it comes with the non-interference engine. Mine has the interference engine, but it also has VVTi. And then I have a 5-speed transmission. Because of the fact I like to drive this car, this one is technically faster, but you can do more modifications to the last gen of the 1UZ. So, I mean, I don't care. I like the car. I don't care about, oh, I should have got this or I should have got that. No, I really prefer this car because if you know anything about these cars, you know that it was hard to build them. The only people you could watch on YouTube at the time when it came to building one of these cars was Mr. Octane Zip Ties. He's one of my biggest homies. He really helped me, put me on how to build this car. Usually whenever I needed help with it, I would go to him and ask questions, and he really put me on. Also, you could watch Divine Media. He has a very nice LS400. I love his. He really helped put me on a lot of his, on how to make this car this way. I used to watch his videos almost every single day before I bought this car. I've been wanting to buy this car since 2021. Not even 2021, probably like 2022. Just because I never really seen him around. And I've only known, like, in my life during that time period, I only knew 2 people with this car. It was, his name Zombie Slabs on Instagram. His is Goes Hard. He had 2. He had a red one that had a very nice kit on it. And then also he has one right now that is 2J swap, R154 swapped with a LS460 front end. One of the best LSs I've ever seen in the States. Then you have my homeboy Zay Lucero. He has a same body style as mine. I haven't seen his in a minute, but his was sitting at probably like -25 in the rear, and I think like negative maybe 18 in the front. I don't remember. I haven't talked to him about it in a long time, but those are the only 2 I've ever seen. But they were both bagged, and me, I prefer static cars. I would never buy bags ever in my life. It only really depends on the car, but a car like this has to be. Let's start with the front of the car. So I get a lot of questions about what exactly are these. These are OEM Fender Markers from Toyota. In Japan, since we don't have access to the Toyota Crown or the Toyota Mark II or any of those, these usually come on these cars to show like where exactly are they in the lane, because obviously those are bigger cars. And since those are bigger cars, and if you ever looked at how Japan is set up, the streets of Japan are tiny. I mean, tiny. So these help signify where exactly they are on the road and if they're in their lane or not. So yeah. So here we have some clear corners. These ones are very old. They're kind of broken up a little bit, but I had them on the car for like 2 years now so far at this point. So if you know anything about LS400s, you know that the tabs on these things like to break. Culprit 1, culprit 2. So the only way I can make them actually stay in there, I used some RTV silicone and I put it between the headlight and the corner light just to keep it in there. Because due to me being how low I am and how much the car bounces around and all that, it'll cause these to pop out all the time, which is what breaks the tabs on these. So I did that, and I've driven this car thousands of miles like this, and it has not fell out once. So this is actually the best fix for this. So for the front wheels, mainly the front suspension setup. So I'm sitting on Parshot Max coilovers. These are valved for about 50K springs all around, but I'm currently running 30Ks up front, 18Ks in the rear. I plan on upgrading and going with a higher spring rate due to the fact that I do want to have aero in this car, and I don't want to clap out my aero. So what I'm gonna do is I'm planning on going probably just to the max and going straight 50Ks up front. This car is literally gonna ride like it's on bricks basically, and then I'm gonna probably go up to like, I'm gonna take the 30Ks from up here and throw them in the back. So essentially the car will be riding stiff, and I'll have no way for me to destroy my kit. The problem is though, is that with these cars, the kits, they sit extremely low. Like, if you see how much space I have here, right? Yeah, because of the height I'm at, if I had a kit or any lip kit or anything, my bumper would be on the ground. So I don't plan on raising the car, so why not just run higher spring rate, so that way the car can drive like this, be almost kit low. Yeah, crazy, right? Kit low, and then have it looking low, but I mean it does kind of track the ground, I do plan on doing other stuff too. I plan on getting raising my front subframe so that way I can go low up front. I can run more camber and all of that. So up front, I have for all my suspension, I already spoke about the PVM coilovers. I have serial 9 upper control arms, which gets you about -8. Yeah, about -8. Then I have Dayton 1 NRCAs, or negative roll center adjusters. I don't have the middle ones, I have the regular ones. Those gave me an extra -3 degrees of camber. So up front, I'm sitting at about -12 right now. I plan on going for about -20 all around. I can get that in the rear. I have everything in the rear. Up front, I just need to tilt my spindles. So I have shortened 40 millimeter spindles from Mr. Octane and Zip Ties himself. He's a good person to hit up for all that kind of stuff. He'll make you some, good price, tilt them, all of that. So yeah. Also, the wheels that I have on the car are Wedge Crans Vishnus. With these wheels, I really feel like they're like a perfect fit for the car. Kind of basic. If you know anything about VIP cars or like these kind of big cars in general, they're kind of basic. But who cares? It's not your car, it's my car. So I really like these wheels. These are some of my favorite wheels of all time. I've had them on my old 350Z and they're pretty nice. I really like the way they look. So yeah, I went with these. So that's about everything up front. I have all my bushings, all of my suspension components are taken out and redone, so that way the car doesn't have almost 27-year-old pieces of suspension on it, which will make it possibly break and ride like trash. So then, now we're gonna go over to the rear. For the rear of the car, we're sitting at about -15 degrees of camber. I'm sitting on 18K springs in the rear. Just something light. I mean, it doesn't really rub or anything. Usually when I drive the car, I don't see like any tires sitting in the lips or anything anymore. So that tells me a lot right there that, okay, this is a decent spring rate, which is not bad. The car doesn't really bounce a lot in the rear, but I do feel like it would be best if I go stiffer in the rear, because when I do have passengers in the car, because sometimes I do have people in the car, if I have people in the rear, this car bounces so much in the rear, and it will actually dump the car to the ground in the back if I have people in it, which makes me want to go a higher spring rate in the rear because of that. So in the rear, I currently have, to get this much camber, I have Godspeed lower control arms, Godspeed toe arms, and I have a shortened rear upper control arm. So with the shortened rear upper control arm, that's shortened about 1 inch. With those, or you can get serial 9 ones, it doesn't even matter. They all do the same thing. It ain't gonna change much, but they get about the same amount of adjustment, but the serial 9s will get you more. And you'll be getting all your camber off of that. So I have the lower control arms all the way. I don't have them extended at all. They're pulled all the way in. And it's literally at the height I'm at, which is my coilover is literally maxed out right now. The height I'm at with it all the way in, that's already about -5, -6 degrees of camber. With just that shortened front rear upper, it pulled the top end so much that it literally got me to about, it gave me like an extra -10 for some reason after an alignment. I was genuinely confused, because with just the rear lower control arm in general, it can get you to -15 comfortably. I did that on my very first setup. But because of the fact that these wheels, specifically in my rear, has a 5-inch lip, due to when I first test fitted them, the rear lip, the wheel would literally not go on. I have all of this cut, the quarters cut to be able to fit an extra inch with the wheels. But if you look at how tight the fitment is, it would not fit. It just wouldn't go on. So that's what made me buy a shortened rear upper. So I also replaced the axle for this too, just to be able to fit that. So yeah, if you want to get about -15 in the rear alone, that's really how you get it. I can honestly get -20 plus if I extend out that rear lower control arm, but I'm going to do that whenever I get the front handle. But It'll happen at some point. I don't know when, but I will have to rebuild these wheels just to fit that, because this is gonna need probably another inch bigger of a lip. For the interior of the car, we have the lace covers from a Celsior. These are an OEM option that came with these cars while they're over there, because these cars are technically taxi cars in Japan, and that's what they were. Not really a taxi, but you know, like an Uber, like the old head Uber of very high up people. We have a 326. I have a work spell short hub going on to an energy quick release, and I have a 326 power steering wheel. I honestly like it. I like how it looks. I really like 326 power. I really like all their pieces. They make very good quality parts, in my opinion. They make really nice looking wheels. I would love to have a set of 326 wheels for my car. I don't know. It looks good because, I mean, if you never really seen any LS400s with the set. The only time I ever seen one was the owner of Stance Nation. His old LS400, his is probably like one of my favorites. That's what really made me want one for real, is when I seen his. So I plan on, I might change this out, I don't know. It is kind of small for my hands. It makes my hand hurt while I'm driving. So I might go back to the stock for a while, just to get like cruise control and all that back. But I really like it. Then, oh, also shout out to my boy Miles, Mr. Top Tier himself, Mr. Soul Ace himself, Anthony, and Kaido. Talked to my boy Drew on that. Hardest brands, always on top. Now let's get to the rear of the vehicle. So, for taillights, I have like several different sets of taillights sitting at my crib right now that I just be switching around, just for why not, the shits and giggles. So, right on the taillights, we have some dancing LED taillights, straight from Mr. Peter, Car Parts himself. I'll put his @ in the description, I'll put his @ in the video. This is where I get a lot of my LS400 parts from, because it's hard. If you don't know, like I said before, it's hard to get parts for these cars. Finding stuff like this, it's hard to come by. These are pretty expensive too. These are like $1,800 taillights, but they look really good on the car. The only problem of mine is that my turn signals don't work, so I can't really show people I'm turning, so I literally swerve in front of people, not caring. But hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. And then the show modes, it's nice that like when you're driving around, they get brighter when I hit my brakes, but that's also not good. I don't drive with these on. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But most of the time I don't, just because of that. At night especially, because of that. But they turn on whenever I turn the lights on, which is nice. And also they have this remote here that basically controls them and controls all the modes. There's about 40 modes on these, and they're all pretty sick, but I like having it on the demo mode, which just goes through all the different modes on the taillights. And then we're gonna shout out the LLN sticker. Long live Nate, RP to 919.Nate on Insta. If you don't know, if you've been in Sansing for the last few months, and just in general, especially on TikTok, you've heard about the fact that Nate died about a month ago. And he owned probably one of the hardest LS400s out right now. And if you see, it's a purple LS400, and I got the purple sticker just to match that, his purple car. I met him before. I met him in Gatlinburg this year. Really chill dude. It sucks that it happened. Really, very sad, in my opinion, honestly. Even though I barely knew him, but it just sucks to see someone that's like in the same culture as you, has the same car as you, and then something like that happened to him. And also, you gotta shout out the boys. You gotta shout out the boy Kyle and Farmer. You know, Mr. Fear of Dying. You gotta shout them out. Coolest homies ever. Yeah, if you didn't know, yes, I did spend $2,000 on a banner, but do I care? No. But yeah, shouts out to them. Love them boys. Mr. Fear of Dying. And then, really, that's really it. Oh, I forgot to point out the chrome pillars. I got these from Peter himself too. The well visors, got them from him too. Pretty cool touch, a little nice touch on the car. I have some mirrors coming in for the car very soon. They should be coming in probably within like the next month, maybe the next 2 months, I don't know. Something different, something you probably have never seen on the LS400 before, but my shit's gonna be tough, I ain't gonna lie. It's gonna be tough. Let's also shout out top tier, Mr. Miles again himself. Shout out Slim the Fair. Shout out Kenny. And then also the 2 shows I've been in with this car. I've been in 3, but I don't know, the sticker kind of burnt over time. First show ever, Low Class Militia, out in Texas, El Paso. Cool dude. I miss Diego. I haven't seen him in some years. We got Scraping the Coast. If you know about Scraping the Coast is nothing but squatted trucks. Cool builds. I mean, I love squatted trucks, don't get me wrong. But you don't really see nothing scraping the coast for real, like me. So that's why I basically kind of enforce being static so much. It's just because that's really the only show I will put my car in. I didn't build this car for shows. I built this car just to mob, really. I do plan on getting it cleaned up so that way it looks good while mobbing. I mean, it looks good to me, but I know I have imperfections. Like when I first got the car, a month after I got it, I got in an accident, and this entire side was bent in. I needed a new bumper, got it painted. I need a new hood. I still haven't found the hood yet. I got a headlight. I need a new headlight. I need a new corner light. I need a new fender. This entire side was like bent in, but that was like the minor setback. But once that happened, that's literally after that happened, that's when I built the car. That's when I like really locked in on the car. So yeah, this car is really tough to me. I love it. It's been great to me since I've owned it. I haven't really had any issues. The car has about 140k miles on it. It's about a 3 or 4 owner car. I'm the 4th owner, and it's treated me well. I've driven this car everywhere. I've driven it to Gatlinburg. I've driven it to Riverside, Chattanooga. I've towed it to Miami for Ace in Miami this year. I've taken it across the country several times, like probably twice. I've taken it to Atlantic Street Movement, Ocala. Shout out Chris, Mr. JD and Poppy. And then, yeah, this car's been really good to me. I ain't gonna lie. So yeah, this is mainly everything I've done to the car. Also, let me put y'all on. One of my favorite things about the car is this. So this is just some film off of Amazon. I'm most likely gonna link it in the description just to show y'all how to do it. If you know how to put on window tint, this is exactly how you put this on. You just spray it with water and it just sticks to it like static. Then I have an aftermarket radio with Apple CarPlay, wireless CarPlay. I have the shift knob, just random things. I also have a full audio setup on this car. I have a 1-inch SCAR tweeter in here. I have SCAR mid-ranges in the doors. Every door has a 6.5 SCAR mid-range speaker, which helps make it extremely loud. I would show a test demo or anything, but I just don't want to get copyrighted. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I don't want to get copyrighted, but this car beats pretty hard, especially with the 212s I have in here. Also, I got everything in here. Obviously, if you drive a standard car, mainly it's most specifically a static one, you gotta have all your tools on you. You gotta have the jack. You gotta have a spare. I have a spare in there. I got a spare in here too, just to keep me safe, because you never know what can happen, especially on these type of cars. 2 kicker 12s, all that jazz. So yeah, that's really it for the car in general. That's really my build breakdown. I'm probably gonna do videos of me doing stuff to it, probably POVs, me driving it. You never know. I'll figure out over time. But yeah, that's really it for my LS400. And yeah, so yeah, that's really it for my video with my car. I also forgot to show that I also have an exhaust on the car. It's about 2.5 piping all the way back from the cats. I'm going to take out the cats because I'm still scraping through it. I mean, the exhaust in this car is, I literally just got the exhaust done probably earlier this month, and I already flattened it. I have a muffler on the back and everything, just to make the car quiet like OEM again. Cause I ain't gonna lie, back then, I'm gonna put a clip in of how my exhaust looked originally before I got an exhaust put on.
Oh my God, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man? Get your ass on, boy.
With the factory exhaust, I used to have it open from the cats. And yeah, driving that like that, sometimes I get a little lightheaded. I'm not gonna lie. Especially how loud it is. Driving this car all the way to Gat this year and driving it to Riverside like that, literally had me, my ears were ringing and I had a headache. So where I had to take a break as soon as I got there or got home. Worst thing ever. Never again. That's why I got an exhaust mate. But now, since I have an exhaust mate and the car is still low as balls to the ground, I literally scraped the entire thing to where there's just a fat hole going through the entire thing all the way up to about here, to the rear bumper. And then I just have a muffler on here for no reason. So, since the car is sitting dirt nasty low still, I'm probably gonna take off the muffler. It's a 2.5 Magnaflow muffler. I'm gonna take it off, do blast pipes out, single exit also, by the way. And yeah, I don't know. I love how this car sounds, but Jesus Christ, it is loud. But whenever people try to pass me, they think this car is like some V6 or something. They think it's like some slow boat. But people don't realize that this is why they put 6.2 or 6.4 engines into your Chargers and Challengers, because those things are boats. They need some power to move. So this thing has a 4-liter V8, so they don't expect this car to have a V8 in it. And that's the best part about this. Until I like stomp on it, then people are actually looking shook at me when they hear it. So yeah, love this car. If you want an LS400, I say you should get one. It's expensive, I can give you that much. It's expensive. If you ain't got the bread, don't get one. But I mean, it is a cheaper way to do all the suspension. You could shorten the uppers. You could get shortened front uppers. I had a set of shortened front uppers. It got me to -6 up front. You could probably get like -10, -11, -12 out of just having shortened front uppers. Just a shortened spindle, NRCAs, or you could run extended lower control arms. I had lower control arms at one point, extended ones, with extended tie rods. They help out a lot. That's what really got me to like -14 up front the first time. So I might go back with that, or I might just tilt my spindles for like -3 degrees, an extra -3 degrees. And then that's really it. You could also, like I said, I also have Godspeed rear arms. You don't need Serial 9 arms. You don't need Serial 9 arms to get this much camber in the rear. You really don't. Better quality? Maybe, yeah. But do you need them? Not really. They never gave me an issue. I've had these things on here for like 2 years. I've owned the car since 2022. And those are like the first thing I put on the car. You really don't need them. You don't really need them. I do need to get traction arms, but I don't know if I should get traction arms yet, because I don't see the purpose of them. So until I figure out the actual purpose of them, then I'll get some. Other than that, I'm not gonna get any until I really find out. So I'm gonna do more research to get those, but just wait. This is just a small little YouTube journey. I don't really care about doing vlogs and all that, because I don't like the fact that during a vlog you gotta pull your phone out and like when you're talking to people. And I just feel that's just awkward. I hate feeling awkward. So yeah, this is my LS400. If you need anything, my IG is in the bio. My IG is gonna be in the description. You can DM me. I will respond to DMs. I'm not gonna be Hollywood and not answer them. If I do actually decide to look at my hidden requests. But yeah, if you ever need any problem, if you have any problems with the car, you need any help with it, just let me know, because I've done everything on this car either by myself or I've had help from friends. My dad has helped me on this car, mainly on the getting all the rear camber. My dad helped me get all the rear camber in my car, because you know I'm younger, so I'm not as experienced with with using tools and leverage and all that. But every time I have an issue, the first person I hit up is my dad. And literally, when I brought my car down to him to help me finish this, literally have the car done in like 30 minutes, while originally it took me like 2 days to get just one side done on the rear for my rear uppers. So yeah, shout out to everybody that's helped me with this car, helped me get this far with this car. Shout out to my homies that got me to want to even make a YouTube video on how to build an LS400. I'm probably gonna do more. You'll get POVs of me driving it. Shit, I don't know, maybe the first POV video, I'll probably ride around on the worst streets ever that I've ever been on, and that is in New Orleans, Louisiana. Those are like the worst streets I've ever driven this car on, and the car wasn't even as low, with way less camber. So I don't know, maybe I might do it. Am I gonna destroy my car for video? Probably not. Those rules are horrible. I don't think I want to go through that in this car, audio. But yeah, that's really it for this car. That's really it for my YouTube video, my first YouTube video. And break.
Bitch, give me my fix, my crack addict.